Good day, friends. Miloa here, and today we'll be talking about Storvagun T2 strategies. Let's go! Storvagun is the boss from the vaults that comes out once a year during the Yule Festival. This is a 6-man instance that can be run on tier 1 or 2. To get started, you need to head to Frostbluff, where the Yule Festival takes place. You can get there from a special stable master at Westbury or Michael Delving, or accept the initial Yule quest that will give you a map and allow you to port there directly. Be sure to pick up the seasonal wrapper quest called Seasonal Storvagun's Riches from Verbena Greenhand. She can be found next to the Frostbluff stable master. The wrapper quest gives you some great gifts to use, including universal option crafting ingredients, rare crafting component selection box, and the hot ticket for the season is a legendary gold tracery token that is bound to account. This is where mules come in handy. The more ults you can run through this wrapper, the more legendary tracery tokens you can gather. Note that this quest can only be advanced on tier 2 once per day, and the quest can only be completed once per Yule Festival. However, Storv Tier 2 drops some really nice steel bracelets, and depending on the rollout of content can be best in slot. However, it's always advisable to investigate your options. Storv typically drops best in slot bracelets. However, this year with the release of Storvagun the 6-man around the same time, they are second best in slot. In my opinion, Storvagun Tier 2 bracelets are better than Storv, but Storv bracelets takes a fraction of the time to get. So, it is a great starting point. You will want to take at minimum a tank and a healer with you, and then anything else. The quickest groups tend to be a strong tank like a guard or a cappy with any healer, plus 4 strong DPS like hunters or champs. However, I have done it with 2 LMs, 1 Berg, and a brawler on DPS. It took a little bit longer, but we still got the job done. I have also tanked this with no healer, so it is possible if you have enough survival skills and high mitigation. Once you enter the arena, there is an additional quest that you need to pick up. Click on the Memories of Storvagun podium and accept the quest, The Trader's Loyalty. If you're having a hard time with the podium, be sure to turn on floaty names and click on the words or press F10. You enter the arena from the north. The arena is a rough square. On the west you have a drop-off cliff, and yes, you can get knocked over the cliff and die. As the fight progresses, the arena will become smaller as wound puddles appear around the perimeter of the arena. These wound puddles can easily kill light and medium armor. Heavy armor classes can simply run through them and likely survive. This means that if anyone dies and retreats, they may need help from the healer in the form of a bubble or from the tank in the form of a shield to get through these wound puddles to rejoin the group in the battle. If you retreat, you must run back past the entry of the fight, because if the boss crosses that invisible line, the entire fight will reset. You will see as you enter the arena there will be one spot right to the right, that is the safe spot where no puddles are, that you can stand and survive. The first few seconds of the fight is critical to the success. The tank must absolutely have aggro and keep aggro by the time the boss reaches 92% health. If the tank does not, then the boss will stick onto whoever it has targeted. Healers need to pay attention to who actually has aggro on the boss and make sure to pour all their heals into that person. On the flip side, if the tank has aggro at 92% health, then the tank will not lose aggro unless they die, and so can focus all their aggro skills on the adds. In the event that the tank dies, the boss will aggro onto the next highest on the list, but if that person dies, it does not mean that the boss will go back onto the tank. The boss seemingly randomly selects someone as their target, and often the tank will have a hard time regaining aggro. In that event, healers should heal who the boss is focused on, while the tank gathers up all the adds. Based on the boss's percentage health, adds will be summoned throughout the fight. Adds will alternate every 10% of the boss's health between giants and snow beasts. Tanks should use single taunts on individual giants, but must hold their big AoE taunt until after the snow beasts spawn, because there are a lot of them. The snow beasts do a lot of damage and can utterly destroy a group. If the tank uses their AoE taunt too early, the group can wipe due to the adds running amok. So the giants will spawn at 90, 70, and 40%, and the snow beast will spawn at 80, 60, 30, 20, and 10%. On the last ad wave, the snow beast will keep coming on a timer. So a low DPS group might be overwhelmed by the snow beasts if they decide to focus on ads only. Thus, typically, when the boss's health gets under 20%, just focus on the boss and AoE off the boss. The giant warriors have two mechanics. One is where they will run to a random target and stun that target. This simply cannot be avoided, and the alum should be putting stun immunity up on the tank. The second is a yellow bar induction, where they will be doing a lot of frontal damage. This can be interrupted. However, healers can typically heal through this, and these can also be avoided by just running away from the giants that are inducting. The two ranged giants that spawn on the east side at 70% can be CC'd by the Lore Master or Berg, so that they don't do any damage to the Fellowship. Or the tank can simply stack on these giants, and they can be taken out with AoE in the event that you do not have an alum or Berg in group. Alums can also use Bane Flare on the snow beasts to help give the tanks chance to pick them all up. The boss has a lot of frontal attacks, and this is what groups will die to most frequently. Thus, unless you're the tank, make sure to stay behind the boss at all times during the fight, and if you're the tank, make sure that the boss is turned away from your fellows at all times. The boss will green bar at 85, 65, 50, and 45%. The green bar means that he wipes out any debuffs that are on him, so you will need to reapply these when he red bars again. At 21%, the boss green bars and runs to the middle of the arena and does a 360-degree attack that really hurts. You can either just run away from him or eat it with a bubble from the RK or mini or set in harm's way if you're a Cappy. Windmill Punch is an interruptible induction that starts at 50%. It also does massive frontal damage to the group, and typically the tank will be responsible for interrupting that induction, or also if anybody is focusing on the boss at that time, helping with the interrupts will be necessary. Once the boss dies, all the ads will disappear, so focusing on the boss and AoEing off the boss is a legitimate strategy once you get to under 21%. I am fortunate enough to have the time and friends to devote to solving the mechanics of these boss fights, and I really enjoy sharing my knowledge with you. If you want more guides like these, then be sure to hit the subscribe button below. Written guides are available for my patrons. The link to my Patreon page can be found in the description below. Until next time.